I took a guy called Gerald to Rage. He'd never been to Rage. And I'm like, how could you not go to Rage? They're playing 28 Gun Bad Boy every week, you know what I mean? And I took him to Rage, and he lost his fucking mind.
Rage started, I don't know, I think it was 91.
The influence, the impact that club had for culture, forget drum and bass for a second, just for culture, there is nothing more upstanding than that.
Without Rage, I wouldn't have a career. Let's start with that first.
Most Thursdays, it was like the Mecca, innit? Do you know what I mean? We all came here, like the birthplace, the Mecca, we came here, got the vibe. It was like the start of a beautiful period of music.
We discovered Grooverider first, to be honest, because the first time we went to get in there, you had to go through this long process of membership, lamination, fill out a form. So we only got to see Grooverider, and it was so spectacular to us. We were there at kind of 9 o'clock the next week so that we could make sure we could hear this other DJ called Fabio.
Rage was here before us, we just took it to that next level.
True.
Well, we helped take it to that next level.
But it's very important saying that, because a lot of people talk about Rage and they talk about me and Groove Bar.
Yeah, but
Trevor Fung and Colin, I don't think people understand the amount of respect we had for those guys.
Exactly, Colin Faber
was just like, he was the first guy that I properly heard mix.
Yeah.
And for me, Groove, Colin Dale, we're guys from South London, and we knew about Colin Faber.
Those kind of guys.
We were indebted to, Colin Faber. He was one of the greatest DJs I've ever heard.
Yeah. Also got to give John Digweed a shout as well.
Yeah, JD. Yeah. He was
another resident.
He was another resident here. At the same time, we did move it on a level.
Oh yeah, we smashed it. So Kevin Millings, like the promoter at the time, said, you know what, we're going to have to change this around because you're getting too many people upstairs. We're going to have to get you on the main floor. So that's how we got onto the main floor and then kind of rolled on from there.
I went to Rage pretty much every single Thursday from 1988 for about 6 years. For me, it was home. It was the place to go every single week in London.
I went to Rage back in the early 90s. At that time, it was, do you know who used to be my driver back in the 90s? DJ Spoonie.
Rage for me was probably, the biggest special night. That is the reason why we're here now.
You'd go to Rage and you would go there for a specific reason. You're gonna hear amazing music, and the energy and the vibe of the scene was very unique. It helped to change my life.
But Rage was this other idea of playing this kind of mixture of kind of European and English music. And of course, Fabio and Grooverider championed this new sound that was coming out of rave culture.
You'd have people like Prince and Grace Jones and Boy George mixing with a bunch of East London ravers. It was very, very cosmopolitan and super, super cool.
One of my favourite memories is the first time they played Terminator here, do you know what I mean? Watching Goldie just run around like a complete madman.
I wouldn't be here without Rage. I wouldn't be here without Grooverider playing that first dub plate. Doc Scott drove down from Coventry when I was trying to get him on reinforced, and he brought down Dark Angel, and I had to spray the label for him, and I was like, he didn't really say it was for metalheads, and he just came down and cut it, and I said, can you do these labels for me? And I did it and put Dark Angel, and went to Rage with him and checked the Warrior. Grooverider put Terminator in the mix with Dark Angel. Me and Scott had come up on a pill, and we were like, this tune doesn't belong to us anymore. It belongs to Grooverider. Both tunes in the mix, it belonged to somebody else. And that's the power of what he did in this long mix. And I just turned to Scott and hugged him, and he went, you can take it for the label. Rage is the most powerful influence in my life.
I think we're the longest lasting partnership in dance music because me and Groove have got kind of common ground. We've got these rules that we've never set, but we just have rules that we never speak about, and that's part of a real close bonding with someone. If you've got your wife and you just know things automatically.
I would go out and check them guys out in fields when Groove was wearing his string vest and had some afro, when they both had hair. You understand what I mean? So say a long time ago that was, okay?
We always used to work out who was playing. Was it Groove or Fabio? Because they both had dreads. You had to look at the silhouette through the light. And we were all, I'm still a fan today, you know what I mean?
They were like the first sort of like superstar DJs, really.
Fabio and Grooverider are absolute legends. We came up together in this business, do you know what I mean, from that 1988, 89.
Whatever Fabio and Grooverider were playing, that was the direction what we all went into, you get what I'm saying? They spearheaded all the UK, like, rave music.
Got some good bits in today if you want some.
And there's certain way to get through to DJs is through giving them a dub plate. That's the best way for them to play it. Of course, Fabio and Grooverider play something, everyone listens to it, you know, everybody wants it. It creates a buzz on the track, and that's how it sort of snowballs into something that's wanted.
When you've grown up on someone's music and wanting to emulate, you know, get them to play your music, we served Grooverider and Fabio.
Our landlady had to come and tell us we were at war with Iraq. We were so obsessed with drum and bass. And that came from loving Fabio and Grooverider and hearing two different DJs with two different styles do two different things, but achieve the same thing. We were in ecstasy.
I know that there wasn't many people, if any, doing back-to-backs before myself and Fabio. Whether that term was about us, I don't know.
As far as I know, back-to-back was made by me and Groove. I can't remember another back-to-back before that.
We are the first people that like said, you're good enough to play with me, to each other.
They were DJing together, but back-to-back was a thing that we originated.
Myself and Fabio are trying to provide a set. Do you get what I'm saying? And there's a big difference. We're not competing. We're trying to roll out a set for everybody that he's going to be happy with and I'm going to be happy with.
Normally when you had I'm not saying we're the first two DJs to have a partnership, but the way we did it, 15 minutes each, that's what we used to do for the whole night.
And I've noticed, like, when people do back-to-backs, they're competing with each other. Who's first to the draw? And that's not how it works. That is not a back-to-back, friends. That's not a back-to-back.
Now, back-to-backs, some nights you just have back-to-backs, so it's kind of like, yeah, we started that.
Fab and Groove, you're fucking legends.
We've done a lot of the big raves and that back in the day, but you know, there's something really special about Heaven nightclub and the combination of that with Fabio and Grooverider.
My first memory of Heaven or Rage is here, this room. This is where, you know, we entered there for our first set. DJ box used to be over in that corner.
That's right. It got so busy in this room, I don't think you understand.
Yeah, it used to be half the size of
it. It used to be half the size of this, and then you used to come in, and there used to be queues on the stairs, and you couldn't
even get into the room.
Couldn't even get in the room.
It was just very pure music, and I think Heaven is such a spectacular club, and it had these massive old-fashioned like wardrobe bass bins on the floor. You had the strobe straight on top of it. That was mine and Kemi's spot, Chemistry. So yes, for us, it was pivotal because we would have never become DJs without hearing that.
You know, every week I used to go over, there used to be tunes that them used to smash out. I mean, you know, I know Groove and Fabio when they never had record box and all, they was carrying tunes in record crate, in milk crate. Do you understand what I'm saying?
This is the home of house music.
Yeah.
No matter what anybody wants to say, who innovated what. This is, for the UK, this is the home of house music.
We were already going out to raves and parties and stuff, but for me, I think Heaven was sort of like what was in a field, but in a club.
Heavens was a very unique club, and it still is. You know, look at it now, it's not changed that much, but it still looks amazing. And you know, you can imagine what it looked like back in the day. It was very futuristic, and you know, to play in it was a dream.
You had Land of Oz, which was a Monday night thing at Heaven, which was like, it was the starting point for like house music pretty much. And Rage came after, and then we were playing house to start off with in Heaven, and then kind of that whole phase between, I don't even know the years, but the whole phase between when we started to when we finished, we went through house, hardcore, jungle, and then finished up in kind of early drum and bass. So Rage has been everything.
It was the place where you heard the latest tunes. There really weren't any rewinds. One rewind I heard from UFO. Groove had to pull it back because it was that tune that was going to break, you know, sound systems.
We were the first people brave enough to stop a tune mid-flow, play it from the beginning again, which was a big deal because nobody knew what we were doing, but we were bringing our sound system culture days into dance music, our influences.
I think it was the first time I ever had MDMA was at Heaven as well, do you know what I mean? So, sorry mum.
Rum and Black, Slaves.
Definitely we are here then.
Strings Alive,
Metroplex,
D-Shake, Techno Trance, Yar.
Champion Sounds.
The Morning After.
And Demon Boys.
Just for you, London.
Mentasm by Belgium.
Just Another Chance, Mysteries.
Homeboy Hippie Funky Dread.
the one with the horse on the head. Is it a horse? Or is it a dog? No, it's a purple dog.
Strings of Life.
Kickman Records.
LFO's.
Tears.
EQ'd.
Dr. Baker Chaos, the German sausage mix.
Outlander.
Box bass. Ibiza Records.
Monkey War.
Why?
Rabbit City Records as well.
Brothers Grimm. You know, Lion Awakes, all these tunes that were so seminal. You know, even Prodigy, you know what I mean? And we were like, nah, man, it's too candy. Prodigy were big. I didn't realise how big they were at that time. Do you know what I mean? We were like, nah, man, we want to get dark. But they contributed so much to British music. God bless you, Keith.
I can actually tell you about the birth of jungle. It happened right here, downstairs, on the floor. There was a little facing house where it became a thing called hip house, where they started to try and mix a bit of breakbeat into the house, but it wasn't actually a style. But I used to collect breakbeats, and what I used to do, because it was vinyl, I used to speed the breakbeats up to 45 to try and mix them in with house music.
It's the place that I think jungle was kind of formed in the way that we used to play breakbeats on top of techno, because we used to like the way it sounded, and you couldn't have done that anywhere else and played that and got away with it, but we did.
You know, no matter what stories you hear out there, that's the birth of it. I used to mix breakbeats. Well, myself and Fabio used to mix breakbeats with house music, and we were making the new music.
See, what we was doing was getting hip-hop breaks and speeding them up and matching them with the beats. You've got to remember, dance music was a lot faster than hip-hop. So we was literally doubling the beats of hip-hop track and putting them on the top of techno tracks. We noticed when we did that, you know, we got a vibe and people were dancing in a different way from the normal 4th floor of house.
So there, in fact, is your inception of jungle. That's where it comes from.
There's all these urban kids just like going nuts to it. Well, it kind of went beyond rave then, because it became like the darker side of London underground. That's the difference with what rage did. You know, when you talk about jungle, I'm talking before people got on the mic and were spitting ragga. I'm talking urban jungle. As Fabio coined that name. As Fabio, I heard the first person say the name jungle. So it's urban jungle music, man.
So we started to do that more and more, and then tracks started coming out like Re-IE, Champion Sounds, a lot of the early jungle stuff from Ibiza Records, Living Dream Records, Moving Shadow, Suburban Bass, and then it became a movement, and then jungle was kind of formed. Then by 93, it was a fully formed genre. So you can say that rage had a massive part to do with the birth of jungle. Massive.
You had the real proper like Orange Crew, the real proper you know what I mean, early jungle rave thing going on in there, so that was wicked.
It's one of those things that without rage maybe drum and bass wouldn't have been the same, or it might still have come to fruition, but it was crucial to as a stepping stone for the development of the music.
I was coming to rage from when they were playing house, do you know what I mean? And I was there through the whole development, from the house sound through the R&S sound to the beginning of jungle sound, yeah.
And then I think some people used to come down, and they were like producers who used to make house. They were listening to that sound and trying to take that sound that we were trying to mix and go and make records like that. And I mean, like tunes like We Are E are the tunes that we were trying to make when we were mixing. That's what it sounded like to me when he made that. So that's the inception of jungle.
I think for urban dance music, jungle was the first. I can't remember anything else. It was the first urban dance music, as simple as that. You know, it predated garage and dubstep and trap and grime, everything. That you can play in clubs now is club music, man. And it's born and bred in South London. And, you know, for that, we should be proud. Because look at drum and bass today. It's, you know, you get drum and bass festivals with 20,000 people, which is insane. And me and Groove sometimes sit down and think, wow, we're a major part to do with this, and that's why people really need to pay respect is due. There's no two ways about it, and I'm not being bullish or big-headed, but it's the truth.
That's a wrap.